what has this year been like for you? A lot of change, a lot of things happening. How are you feeling?
Well, if you'd have told me at the beginning of this year how it was going to end, I would have called you crazy. It's been for a guy who's my idea when I left The Voice was to just not do anything anymore. It didn't work out.
Here we are.
How I thought, and you can thank Post Malone for that. He kind of, woke me, got me out of bed and made me, start getting in the studio again. So.
Grateful for that guy. Collaborations. That is something that is the hot ticket right now in country music. You've had some really great ones, specifically with your wife, some great collaborations. What has been a favorite of yours, or maybe one that you haven't been able to cross off yet? A collab, duet, maybe? Anybody out there
all
who would be
you mean like all people,
time?
Dolly. I mean, yeah. I'm so jealous of everybody that's gotten to make a record with Dolly. I'd love to do that. I don't know if it'll ever be in the cards or not. I don't know if I would ever have the nerve to even ask.
Sometimes you gotta just put yourself out there.
Well, speaking of Canada, I tried. I really wanted to do a duet with Anne Murray. Anne Murray was when I moved to Nashville. My second job, I worked as a tape copy boy for a publishing company that Anne Murray owned.
Oh, wow.
And I got to meet her, and I always was a huge fan, and I wanted to record a Christmas duet with her. And this has been like 3 years ago. And Anne retired. She literally doesn't sing anymore. And I found out because I was like, we went approaching. She was like, no, I appreciate it, but I don't sing anymore. I just don't do it anymore. So that's a bucket list one right there that I'm never going to get to have. But I don't care. I love Anne Murray no matter, even if she said no.
She's still great.
Yeah.
I feel like Dolly would say yes.
You think so?
I think she would. So I like to manifest things, and a lot of them in my shows have come true with certain artists.
Okay.
So I'm going to manifest a Dolly Parton, Blake Shelton collab.
You're very powerful.
I'm going to try. If it comes true, you better call me and say thank you.
That's right. We're going to have a meeting every week if this comes true.
I will do my best. We talked a little bit about The Voice earlier in the show. What are you missing the most about sitting in that big red chair? Just the chair.
Well, and the chair was super nice.
Did you get to take it home with you?
I did.
You did?
That's the truth. That's a matter of fact. And it was hell shipping it, but we do have it at the house now, and it still works. It lights up everything.
You just every morning go have your coffee.
Yeah,
you're just spinning around.
I don't know what to do without my chair. I watch games in it. I guess I don't miss the job as much as I miss just those people became family to me. The crew, the producers. I mean, everybody that worked on that show, the band. I mean, I was with them more than I was with my family.
Yeah.
And I miss all of them. I mean, I really do. But the job itself, I mean, it was just time, it was just, I was kind of just becoming numb to the job, and you can't do a good job of it, when you start feeling that way.
Well,
I do miss the people.
Texas. What was it about the song when you heard it that made you go, okay, not only am I going to put music out again, but it's going to be this one that I'm going to lead with?
Well, I got to tell you the truth. When I went to go look for a new label home, I had recorded some songs that just out on my own with Scott Hendricks. We got together and made some recordings. And so my very first meeting with BMG Records, I went in, sat down, and they said, well, you have any new music, something we can at least see where you're at? And I played 3 songs for them, and Texas is one of them. The guy the president of the label, a guy named John Loba, stood up out of his chair and he went, "We're done here." He goes, "That's your first single. If you sign with us, we already know what your first single is going to be." And I was relieved to hear that, because when you've been doing this as long as I have, sometimes you start kind of losing perspective of where's the goalpost at anymore? You know what I mean? Because the business moves so fast, and I thought it was what I thought it was, but I was never going to lay my neck out on the line and say, hey, this is my first single,
Yeah.
And so to hear those guys say it and get that excited about it, that's how the decision was made, and thank God, because I've been there where it's like, no, I think this, no, we think this, and normally when those conversations happen, neither one of you are right.
You guys were right. Did you see the video of all the songwriters celebrating in the
Yeah,
parking
that
lot?
was so fun.
That was
Oh my
so
God.
cool.
Those guys, and 3 of them, it's the very first single they've ever had. So
And been in Nashville for a long time.
I know one of them I saw was 15 years. So he's
What a
going to need a
way.
new hood for his car. I think jumping on the hood of his car that night.
That
So
is so awesome. Who do you think? A lot of people have said you would be the guy they'd want to like bartend their parties and to spend New Year's Eve with. But who do you think would be the most fun to spend New Year's with?
wow. Well, these days when I think of a party, I do think of Post Malone.
He's a good guy for that.
But I wouldn't want him at my party because that guy, he's got like I'm like slowed down a few notches and he's still on like notch number 10.
Yeah.
You want him to come through for like 45 minutes to your party, get the party going good, but then there's a chance that some of you won't be standing.
Maybe you
after
just
that,
go to
yeah.
his party
And then leave.
and then you leave once you've had
Yeah.
your share.
I don't think you can get into his party though. Like the
Probably
world
not.
is trying to get into
Yeah,
Post
I
Malone.
think you could get into his
Maybe.
party. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the question even was.
Just who you would want to spend New Year's with.
Wow.
Who do you spend? Obviously, Gwen. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
do you
yeah.
guys do a big thing for New Year's, or is it more low key?
We do low key, but we blow it out in our way. I mean,
Yeah.
we normally end up at the ranch in Oklahoma, and we have
Okay.
it set up to where we can have a lot of guests there. That has its individual cabins, and so, but it's usually just a bunch of family that comes and stays with us, and Gwen and I do our best to try to stay up till midnight.
Same.
Yeah. So that's probably what's going to be happening.
Since you are not on The Voice anymore, I feel like has it freed up some time for you that you kind of get to go on trips or take some time off and be at home on the farm?
It has. Gwen took me to Italy this summer. I've never been anywhere. When I say I've never been anywhere, I've been to Canada and I've been to Mexico.
Okay.
And I went to Hawaii and Alaska at some point.
And Hawaii's still the United States. So.
That's right. So neither one of those. It's not like, I guess it is going somewhere, but
Yeah.
I'd never been to Europe, and so that was to have Gwen be the one that introduced me to, because she's been there enough to know here's what we need to do.
Yeah.
We were there for about 2 weeks, I think, maybe a little longer than that, and it was just a trip of a lifetime. But yeah, trying to get some life in before I'm dead. So
I like Italy's a good place to start. You have gotten to watch a lot of rising stars on The Voice. Is there a voice in country music, a new artist that's really impressed you recently?
There's a lot of them. I'm always nervous to single anybody out because you have these friendships with all of them. You know what I'm saying? The one that oh my gosh, that's tough. I have to think about how I word it. But it was fun. The last guy that won the show, I'll say this. The last guy that won it for me was a guy named Bryce Leatherwood.
Mhm.
And he was the last one to bring home the trophy, and it's easy for me to talk about Bryce because I remember it the clearest because it's the most recent. But
Yeah.
just his work ethic, how hard he works at it to be the best he can possibly be, the thought that he puts in, how disciplined he is about the way he performs and records, and just that guy's professionalism has really blew me away.
Love that. Touring in 2025. Is there a chance we're going to get Blake Shelton back to Canada now that you're releasing music?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be in Canada. I do have a tour that we're doing, and I can't remember what the tour dates are offhand, but I know we did Canada this year earlier, so I doubt we're going back on my actual tour.
Right.
But I always play shows in
You do?
Canada every
Yeah.
single year. So I'm just going to say yes.
Okay. We have
just-
it on camera now. So.
just based on I'm going to base it on my history. Canada's been so good to me. In the early years, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to win over the Canadian audience because it was just a tough hump for me to get over. A lot of the music that I released early was Austin. It was a song about Texas. I had Old Red, a song about the South in the U.S. So I had a hard time getting to where I had songs that people in Canada could even relate to,
Yeah.
But once we did, man, they've just been so loyal, and they always come out, and I love going up there. I really do.
What does new music look like for you in 2025? Since you said you went in and you played 3 songs, does that mean there's more?
Yeah, I'll definitely have. I got to say, there's got to be an album next year. I don't know a date. I've got a pile of songs right now that I've cut that
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it an album yet. You know, I'm not ready to hand it off yet. I still want to mess with it. So, but yeah, for sure an album next year. For sure, going to be in Canada singing at some point. I don't know if which coast or what part of the
All right. Well, I'll make sure I'll
country.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you
I'll
to
be
that.
there. Yep.
Okay.
What was maybe one thing this year that you learned about yourself or that you're really glad you accomplished in 2024?
I'm just glad that I'm lucky enough that even in 2024, 24 years after I had my first song come out, that now and this year I released a new song and it still uh, has a platform and people are still at least interested in what I'm doing. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that I'm getting to do what I do uh, this many years later is just I do appreciate it and it is overwhelming and just that's what I learned this year. Like I can't be thankful enough that I still get to have to do this as my job.
Awesome. Thank you so much.